All right, there we go. I think we got it live now. All right, there we go. Good morning, everybody online, and we've gotten 2 spots. Got a nice little vibe going here. Sorry, guys, I got caught up in getting my music going, and then I lost track of time here for everybody this morning. How is everybody doing? Let me know in the comments how you feeling this morning. Good morning, John. We've got Anne, we've got Nalini. Good morning. Nice to see you here. Chinny.
Did your team get approval for
Nice to see you this morning. Let me turn this off here. All right, perfect. I want to give you guys a little vibe, a little nice little tune starting while we kicked off, but that ended up making me be a little later than I wanted to. But thank you everybody for being here, and we will get this point. I think you guys are gonna love this today. I think some of you guys may know of the some of the stuff I'm going to share with you guys today. You may know already, but even if, I think it's going to be a great exercise. You're going to get to do it as a group. And also for a lot of people, this is going to be brand new, and this is going to be quite an aha session for you. So what I mean by that is I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the ways that we can leverage digital social media in our digital marketing strategy. And I want to talk a little bit about the role that social media plays in that traffic funnel that we talked about earlier. All right. So first off, as we get it started, I'd love to ask you guys, anybody here ever use social media for their marketing or planning to use social media on their marketing? Anybody here use social media as part of their marketing at all? Yeah, we got some. Give me a yes in the chat if you've used social media in your marketing as one of your marketing tools already. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Very cool. All right. And in terms of social media, what are some of the reasons why you think social media is a useful part of should be part of your digital marketing strategy? What is unique about social media that makes it such a useful thing when it comes to getting new people to come to your brand? What does social media have in common? Yes, if you do it, yes. We got a pro on the call here. We got Tanisha, who's joining us today for the first time. Yes, it's if you're using organic social media targeting, it's free traffic, right? Because it's a place where a lot of customers are going to in advance, right? They're already going to these social media platforms like Facebook or YouTube or TikTok, and they're on those platforms already. So if we can get our content in front of them, right, we can bring them over to our website or our lead magnet for absolutely free if we're using organic traffic. All right, let's do this. Let's do this fun exercise. I've done this when I've done classrooms because I'm a speaker at some colleges and universities in Ottawa. And one of the things that I like to do with the class when I go in, and sometimes we have a class of 30, 40 people in here, and I ask everybody to name one social media platform. Right? Everybody has to name one unique social media platform. And almost every single time we can go to the entire class and each person in the class can name a different social media platform. And that's why I'm going to say this is going to be an unlimited traffic source. So let's do it with the people that we have on today. It looks like we have about 5 or 6 people on the webinar. We have about 5 or 6 people live with us here. So those of us on the webinar, just put in the chat box, tell us what are some of the social media platforms that you know of? And if somebody else says the one that you want already, write another one in. Awesome. Chidi, you got it first. You got Facebook in. We got Instagram. So you can't use Facebook. You can't use Instagram. How about you guys live? Vinny, what's a social media platform that you'd recommend that's out there? TikTok. All right. Perfect. You're the first one. Oh, somebody said TikTok already. So you got to come with another one, Vinny.
All right. LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. All right. Denisha said LinkedIn already. We got John that says TikTok. What about you, Wes? What's another social media platform that you would say that you'd recommend? Pinterest. All right. Oh, Tanisha's beat. Tanisha, you're killing them. Don't take them all. All right. So we'll give Wes Pinterest because Tanisha is a superstar and naming a bunch of them off. So let me just talk about some of those that we have. We've got YouTube, amazing. That's the second largest search engine and also a third largest right now social media traffic source right now. We've also got YouTube. We've got Etsy. Yes, Etsy is more of a marketplace, But I guess it could also be like a social media challenge because people do go on there for connecting and so forth. We have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have Pinterest, we have so LinkedIn. You guys get what the top ones are. So as you can tell, so these are amazing traffic sources that you can online, that you can use, that you can leverage online in your brand in creating what we call awareness. Okay. Now, for those of us who are here for the first time today, and for some of those who have been here before, I wanted to go over a reference point here for you guys that we've seen before, and I want to talk back to it right here. Is talking about where does social media fall into that channel? What are the main places that we see social media when it comes to our marketing? All right, so let me give this a second to load up. Maybe it was better in the non. There we go. So mass class number 1. So where does social media play into our funnel? So we talked about a funnel before, and the reason why we say it's a funnel is the goal number 1 is to get as many people to be aware of who we are. Right? And then as we get them to aware of who we are, we're going to have some of those people aware of us that like us, trust us, and then eventually make a purchase with us so that they become a natural customer. All right. So social media, as you see at the top of the funnel, the stuff that we talked about here in the chat, like with that we talked about with the folks right here, social media plays a very important part in our becoming aware, in our awareness part of our funnel. All right, Preston, so hey,
you're not sharing your screen.
Sorry, I shared on 1. Can you guys online? Thank you, Vinny. All right, give me a 1. I got all excited here. While I do that, good morning, Robbie. How you doing? I saw you just joined.
Good, brother. How are you?
Great. We're just getting into the thick of things right now. All right, Twitch is another one. Yes. We have Wheelhouse, Clubhouse, Steelhouse, Wheelhouse. All right. So can you guys see my screen right now Nope, I just stopped it. Bear with me 1 second. Share my screen. All right.
Yeesh.
Somebody's calling me.
Popular guy this morning, Preston.
I take it, eh? All right, let's do that. All right, so can you guys see my screen right now? Give me a number 1 in the chat if you can see my screen. Everybody can see my screen? Here we go. Okay, perfect. Yeah, okay, awesome. So, and can you guys hear me clearly? Corby, you can hear me clearly? All right, perfect. So let's continue along here. So what I want to talk about here is this is what I was talking about, the funnel, the accountable funnel is our goal is to get as many people to become aware of us. Now, when we're thinking in business, at first, our audience is very small until we start to get into paid advertising or we start to get a little bit more organic reach with it. Okay, so step number 1 is to use our social media platforms to let people who know, like, and trust us become aware of who we are. And at first, all we have to leverage is pretty much our personal social media platforms, right? Because you guys will agree with me, if you have a Facebook page, right, and you create a Facebook page, it can take a little bit of momentum to start to get people to go to your Facebook page. So what you want to do is post onto your business social page, but then also share that content on your personal page to get people within your network to start to move over, people in your network who know the product and services that you offer to start to become part of your customer base. All right. And that's one way you can start getting traffic coming over to you. The second thing you should start to do is start to partner or network with different people using the same audience as you, right? So it can be other business owners. It can be complementary services to what you offer, right? To start to get organic engagement, organic reach out there to more and more people within that network that you have. Okay. So that's one way that we can talk about in terms of leveraging your social media. And remember, the goal is to get at first as many people to become aware of who you are, and then move them down that what we call the sales funnel. Okay. Now let's go a little bit further onto the next slide here, where I want to talk about the goal is always to get people to become who are complete strangers of your brand. We want to move them through that journey. This is what marketing is all about. You want to get your ideal customer who is currently a stranger. So they may be people that you're aware of, But the real money starts is when you get people who are not within your circle becoming of who you are, aware of who you are, and become visitors that know, like, and trust you. Okay, so you start moving them along this journey. And the way that you can do that is you can leverage, like we talked about, social media, which is an amazing traffic source for people to get them to become aware of your brand. Okay. And what I want to talk about here is once you understand the goal of social media, although social media is a great platform to get people to become aware of who you are, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Because the reality of it is that all of these platforms out there, you do not own. You do not own Facebook. You do not own Instagram. You don't own TikTok. Accounts can become disabled. Accounts can get banned. Accounts can, platforms can change. What you want to do is you want to take your audience from the social media platform and bring them over to your website. Okay. More specifically, you want to get them to exchange with you their name, email, and phone number. Because once you have their name, email, phone number, that's golden. Now you have a contact that you can actually have a relationship with, that you can start to work them through this buyer journey by getting them to know, like, and trust you. Whether that's through phone calls, whether that's through webinars, whether that's through a masterclass, whether that's through emails, you could choose a different ways to take that relationship from something you don't own, which is social media, to something that you actually own. Does that make sense to everybody? Anybody have any questions on that concept so far? All right. While I do that, I'm going to jump onto a really cool, and this is just an example of a funnel, which I explained these before, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on this right now. We can talk a little. You can go back and watch the webinar I did about sales funnels, or just look back at this one right here. But the goal is, what I want to make sure that you know here is that the social media channels that we're going to talk about today, the goal of them is to get people to become aware of who you are. You can get them to like or connect on your page, but once you've done that, your ultimate goal is to get them to opt in, right? Whether that's send them to a Calendly so they can share their contact information so they can book a meeting with you, whether that's to give them a lead magnet, so something of free so they start to exchange and engage with you, or you get them to your website where you have some kind of source to engage with them on an ongoing basis. That should be your primary goal. Get them back to the property that you own, which is an authority website or your actual website that captures your leads. All right. Now, let's jump into some really cool stuff. Now, for those of you guys who are thinking of how can I leverage, what social media platform should I be using for my brand, right? What social media platform? Because that's a question that a lot of people ask. What should I be using to market my brand? Should I be on Google? I'll talk about Google here because Google has a very interesting thing that can help you with other platforms. Should I be on Google? Should I be on Facebook? Should I be on LinkedIn, right? Should I be on Instagram or so forth? In order to determine that, it really depends on what you know about your ideal customer. Okay? And it's in a lot of industries, they talk about the KYC, so know your customer. So the more you know and the more you can do that exercise that we talked about a couple of weeks ago about identifying who your ideal customer is, that will open up your eyes to see exactly what platform that you should be on. And I'm going to give you guys a funnel exercise that I want you guys to do. I'm going to share this link with you. This is the ad setting. And everybody, as long as you're using Google Chrome right now, for those of you guys on a computer, this will work great. Is if you go to this link that I'm going to share with you right now, and you type and you put this on, you'll start to see this is all of the information that Google has collected about you, right? And guess what? A lot of the things that you like, guess who else is going to like that? Who's going to have those same interests? Your ideal customer, right? Your ideal customer is going to follow along. It's going to be very similar to the customer that who your ideal customer is. So here we go. I'm going to drop this link in the chat session here. I'm going to also put it over here. And I know I'm gonna lose some of you guys for a second while you click on this link and you start to explore it. But I would love to see, I'd love to hear from you guys. What are some of the things that you guys are seeing that technology or digital marketing is able to see about you that you did not even know that they could actually track that about you? All right, so check this out. Go ahead and check it out. I'm gonna give it a minute or two to click on the link and check it out over here. So I can see where you guys are. Piyush is awesome. Piyush found out how to turn his off, right? So, but you know what's awkward about that? You can definitely, yes. So that's a great question. So if you do not want, if privacy is something that is a top priority to you, and you do not want Google knowing about what you do, we do have the ability to control this now, right? To control what information Google sees or hears about us, and we can turn this off. Anybody can tell me what would be one? What do you think one downside of that would be if you turn this feature off? Why would you want to have this feature turned on? Do you think
your ideal clients are going to be very similar to what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis?
Vinny, that's a great point.
Their content.
Yeah, so that's a great thing. So Vinny, that's a really good point. So if you want to, if you like us and you want to see who your ideal customers, and you want to see what are some of the interesting things if you want to see what are some of the things that people are targeting you on, this is a great way to see what it is. But the other thing about it is that if you have the targeting on, it was intended when it started off. It started off for a very good reason. You want to only see ads that are things that are pertaining to you, right? So, for example, I'm a male between 35 and 44. I don't really want to see ads about baby diapers right now, right? That would be an absolute waste of my browsing experience. That would also be something that would not be necessarily of interest to me right now. So by having these things on here, it really helps people tailor the ads to the ideal person that would like. That you're only going to get to see ads that you actually want to see, okay? Rather than seeing all the other random ones that may be out there. But let's go through some of these things. So just looking at mine, it got it right. I'm between 35 and 44. Look at that, I'm right on 35. No, I'm not. But at 35, I'm male. I speak English and one other language. It's got that right. I watch YouTube a lot. Perfect. I'm into advertising and marketing. I'm into adventure films, I guess so. I like apparel, auctions, right? So all of these things are things that I have already browsed or looked at online. So how you can use this is going through this list right here. You can identify what are some of the things that you think your ideal customer would, some of the categories your ideal customer would fall under. And then what you can do is you can share that put that into a list that you can use when you're running advertising or when you're running marketing, right? Because if you can identify, hey, I know that my ideal customer is between, I don't know, 45 and 55, right? I know that my ideal customer, doesn't really matter if they're male or female. It's that's not a real thing, but my ideal customer is somebody who likes cars and vehicles, right? You can put that as a targeting option, and then it can help identify a category that you can use when you're running your marketing and when you're doing your different campaigns. All right. So let me just ask from some of you guys, when you went to that link that I just shared, what are some of the things that you found out about your browsing history online that was a bit of an aha moment for you? All right. Let's start with the folks that are on live, and then also anybody on the webinar, you can also put it in the comments for me. So you can pop the screen open right now, and then I'll just ask the folks. Chinny, you want to kick it off for us? Did you find anything interesting or cool, or are you on a computer? You're on mute if you're talking to me. All right, while we're waiting.
The computer. I would rather type it in because it's echoing where I am.
It's echoing. Okay, no problem. That's okay. You can type it in. You can type it in the chat. All right. Hey, Anshul, did you see anything interesting on yours?
Yeah, I just put it in the comment that the marital status and like the parental status is like a little creepy.
A little creepy.
Why do they know that?
Well, Anshul, it sounds like you got something to share with me. All right. Awesome. All right. Yeah, very cool. So yes, just recently married and probably starting to think about parenting. So definitely it's crazy how it sees that based on places that you browse. Yandy, anything come up on yours? It might be loud where she is right now. Wes, how about you? What does Google know about you?
It's quite interesting actually, because I opened up my OT, like my work Google Chrome, and compared it to my personal one, and I mean, for the related browsers, like they hit spot on. It's kind of cool at the bottom where you can do like categories based on your YouTube searches, so you can go a little more in depth on like when you run YouTube ads. But I don't know, mine says alcohol and gambling for YouTube, and that's none of me, so I don't know, it's not.
Sometimes
haven't liked me too well.
Sometimes it does get it wrong, and what's cool about it is you can actually turn off certain areas, right? If you notice that if you notice something that has it completely wrong, like Kimba saying it's telling us that she's not a parent, and we definitely know you're a parent because we saw a little one in the background just now, right? So sometimes it can get it certain things wrong, but this is also some very useful stuff you can talk about when you're thinking of your marketing campaign. You go, oh my gosh, I never thought I could target somebody using, something like this, like classical music, right? That could be a category that helps narrow your audience, because when you're marketing, remember your dollars are based on how many people you want to reach, right? So you can say, you know what, I don't want to reach everybody who's into casual games, right? So you can use that as a targeting or a negative targeting category. Say, I want everybody that lives in that area that are not into casual games. All right, awesome. Hey, my man Robbie, any tips you see here that we can use to help narrow down on some of your targeting?
I just stepped away. I'm just checking it out right now.
All right,
I don't know if I'm doing it right, but mine's empty, so I'm just trying to change my profile pic and the other things. And this basic info doesn't really have anything, so I got to fill that in.
Yeah. So basically, so what you want to do is that the Google profile you're usually using for browsing the internet? Your Gmail?
Yeah.
That's the one you usually have. And do you have ads personalization turned off at the top, or is it on?
Do I have what's again?
You see at the top of my screen there where it has ad personalization is on.
Yeah. I'm looking for that right now.
At the top of it, it might be off. And if you turned it off sometime in the past, then it won't be tracking you, because right now the internet's getting better from a privacy perspective in terms of now. Before that was on by default. Now they actually give you the option. Now it's off by default, and then you have the option of turning it on. Okay. So that is awesome. And what else we got? Tanisha, share any interesting points you learned about you saw here that you can use for targeting or for learning about your new audience here. Or Corby, we know we got a new product here we want to get on. Yes, definitely some interesting, some really cool things. So basically what we want to do is just go through this list here. The exercise I'd recommend doing is go through this list from a know your customer perspective. So think of your ideal customer that you want to target, and then go through these points here and see, hey, which are the ones of these points that you think would be a targeting point for your customer. And you guys should all have the download that I sent a week or two ago where I talked about know your ideal customer and we talk about interest. You can fill a lot of these points in using the points that you get here. Okay. And as you can see, it has, for me, I've been using this Gmail account for quite some time. It has a lot of information in here, right? Even though I have a dog, right? I'm into e-commerce services and so forth. I like fitness. Apparently, I search for fitness. I definitely need to be using fitness more, but you can see I've been searching for fitness and fitness accessories. All right. So with that said, let's go on to that. So anybody who, let me see, was this valuable to you guys? Is this something, if this is the first time you're seeing this, write new in the comments for me. Write new if you've seen this before. And if you know about this already, you knew about this tool, just say, I knew about it. Or maybe you knew about it, but you forgot about it because you haven't used it in a while. All right, awesome. So a lot of people find it some good stuff. So a lot of people say this is brand new. So that's awesome. So that was valuable. Okay, now let's do the same thing, but with other platforms, right? So let's do that exact same exercise that we have. So Google is the biggest platform. And Robbie, you and I will talk off after this call, and we'll see where your settings are, if I can help you get this thing set back up, because this would be useful for us to do for your ads. And we'll find out what information we can use to get some more information on you, because you're going to be part of your ideal customer, and we'll find things in here that can definitely help us. Let's do the same exercise now let's do the exercise. Anne saw this for the first time. Nalini knew about this, but she forgot about it. All right, so that's a little, let's go ahead and bookmark this link here, so you can come back to it in the future, or when you're going to start running an ad again or you're doing any targeting on social media, come back to this page again. Let's do the same thing now with Facebook. All right, so Google is search-based targeting, right? So they get the information based on what people search online. Facebook does it based on your interests, and Facebook and Instagram, and I will just talk about Facebook and Instagram for now, does it based on interest. So the kind of things that you show that you're interested in. Let me show you how we are going to now see that. Anybody here know how to see what Facebook has on you? What you're going to do is I'm going to get everybody to go over to their Facebook page right now. You can listen to me in the background. Go to Facebook, and I want you to start to scroll through your feed until you come across one that has sponsored on it. All right, go ahead to your Facebook feed and go through until you come across one that says sponsored. Do me a favor and write in the comments once you found it. Once you found one. Okay. Go in and tell me when you see one that says sponsored. And then if I can, I'm going to go ahead now to show you guys what the next step is. Oh, yes. Sorry. Thanks, Vinny. No longer called Facebook. It is now the metaverse. All right. Okay, perfect. You got it. So what you're going to do now, Vinny, is you're going to click on the 3 dots here. And you're going to go to, why am I seeing this ad? Anybody here ever click on that? Why am I seeing this ad? Anybody know this exists? If you knew that, say I knew that in the comments. And you're going to click on, why am I seeing this ad? And boom, mind blown. This is new. Facebook now allows you to see why you're seeing ads online, right? So what you could do is I can see, why am I seeing this ad from Fiverr? Yesterday I was on Fiverr, right? I was on Fiverr and I went to their website. So Fiverr is sending an ad to anybody who has been on their website, and it's telling me right here, Facebook and Instagram added interest to your account because of your activity on Facebook with the company products, their engagement, or certain Facebook pages. So yesterday, somebody sent me a link for Fiverr, and I was actually on the Fiverr website. And because I was on the Fiverr website, I go into their retargeting audience. And then Fiverr has an ad for me to remind me, hey, you were on my site, but you did not engage. I want you to come back. All right. So what I can do with this, I can tell them, remove me from this, or I can go ahead and see what other interest that Facebook has on me. And guess what? The interest that I have, a lot of my ideal customers will have that exact same interest, right? Because I'm going to be looking on the same thing as them. All right. So the pop-up is right here. I had it already open. And as you can see, I can share with Facebook information about me. I can share my employer, or I can hide it. I can share the type of work that I do, my education, my relationship status. This is all information that you have on yourself that you have control over, but this is good information that you can use for targeting. And you can also go into looking at interests and categories. I'm showing you guys mine just because that's what I have access to right now, but you can also do the same thing on yours. And you can see on Facebook, if I'm trying to target an ideal customer, it's telling me here that it's showing me a bunch of different people these are all people, a lot of people into marketing that we can actually target on Facebook, right? So now if you're running an ad on Facebook and you're trying to identify your ideal customer, you can do an audience simply based on these names that are here, because these are all people that are targetable online. So if you think that your ideal customer also likes one or multiple of these people, you can go ahead and simply put that into a retargeting audience. All right. Was this cool? Was this another new one? Was this another new factor? Type in new if this was brand new. You did not know that this existed. All right. Vinny says mind blown. I like that. Nalini knew this as well. Awesome. So Nalini has been keeping control of her privacy. Good for you. Anne said it's brand new. So this is, tell me, how do you think you can use this information to help you with your marketing now? I'd love to hear what do you think? How do you think this can help you if you're doing marketing and you're aware that now I can target based on this kind of specific information? I can get very, very granular in my marketing, right? You can target people based on interests and specific behaviors that they do online, right? And just by going through the list that you have, you only need about 5 or 6 audiences to get started, interests to get started with your ads. And then you start to scale from there. All right. So definitely, I would recommend just browsing through these. And then when you see an ad show up on your news feed, right, go one step further, because I still do that. I still do that with my team as well on a regular basis. We'll see an ad come in and we'll just click on it and see how they're advertising to us. How did they get to me? Especially when you see an ad that's really creative, like, wow, how did they know that I'm into parenting right now, right? You can go in and see, and it tells you exactly the information here. And then you can also remove any of them that are not, you think that sometimes the algorithm might have got it wrong. All right. All right. So moving along with it. So now we know that if we want to attract our ideal customer from Google, we can attract them based on their search behavior. And these are some of the search behaviors that we can see how Google groups it together. If we want to do on Facebook, right, we want to use it based on their interests, and we see the kind of interests that they do, that they have available, right? And there's tons and tons of them in here. Okay, and now let's do another one. I'm trying to get in different verticals as much as possible. Almost every digital marketing platform out there that does ads has a form of targeting like this, okay? And depending on the type of audience that they attract, their target will be slightly different. The first one I said was search. This one is more about interest-based. The next one I'm going to show, which is the other aspect of it, is going to be LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn right now, I wasn't able to pull up my my targeting data for you guys quickly before the call. But I wanted to just show you guys, you can actually see that also if you're doing ads, which is also a great way for me to show you guys what are some of the ways that you can use advertising platforms to get to your ideal customer. Okay, this is how all of them are set up. And remember, it goes back to what I explained to you guys over here. It goes back to that diagram where I have your ideal customer is going to know, like, and trust you. Okay, I think I'm using all my resources here because, all right, let's go back. It goes back to this diagram here. So we want to get customers to know you, to attract it to you, and move them through that funnel. As you can see, all of the platforms, I'm showing you guys one of them right now, which is LinkedIn, but Facebook's advertising platform is set up very similar to this, as well as Google's advertising platform is going to be set up very similar to this. The ideal goal at the beginning is to get your ideal customer to know who you are, right? And that is done through a brand awareness campaign. And if you look here, it actually tells you what a brand awareness campaign is. So basically, you want people to know you. You want people to learn about your business, learn about the product or service that you're offering. All right. Vinny, were you saying something or you're just waving? All right. Okay. So if you want people to know about you, you can do a brand awareness campaign. this is when you want people to get to like you, right? And trust you is in the considerations phase. So that's when you get them to visit your website. Like I told you, step number 1 is to use the social media platform to get to know you. When you want them to get them to like you, the way you get them to like you is by sharing these types of media content. You can send them to your website. So one of the objectives in here would send people who know you to your website. You can get them to like or comment on your post that you're putting online, or you can get them to watch a video that you have explaining a particular product, right? And what you should be visualizing with every campaign that you do, you want to go through these steps with the people. You want to start off with brand awareness, then you want to get them to consider you, right? The people that you show your brand to that engage with you, you want to get them to engage in your website or engage in your brand one way. And then the final goal is to get them to convert, right? Is to get them to engage. And the conversion objective is usually things like submit their name, email, phone number, or they can, in this case, they have a website conversion where on your website, you have a checkout or you have a thank you page that you get them to, or a button click for like a phone call click. And this is usually a little bit more advanced. And then the last one that they have here, because this is LinkedIn, is all about job applications and career. Okay. So if you think about it, the first one I mentioned is search, Google. Facebook is interest. LinkedIn is another social media platform, but a LinkedIn platform uses your professional online presence, right? So what's your job? Where you what title you hold? How long you've been there? And so you'll see that audience geared very much towards this. Okay, so now that I've shown you guys what are some of the key advertising ways you can advertise online, let me just share this with you guys actually, because this is not a very, LinkedIn doesn't make it very easy to get to their campaign manager. So let me share this with you. I'm going to share this link with both of you. You can, I encourage you after the call to just go ahead and set up an account here. You have this under your belt. All right, and I'm going to, just for the sake of it, I'm going to click on awareness so I can show you guys the targeting options that we have with LinkedIn. Okay, let's go. Okay, so now that we've selected the objective that we want, which we start off with a brand awareness, the next thing we want to do is we want to see how can we narrow that audience, okay, that we want to target to, because we want to target to everybody in the world at first, but our ideal customer is going to be in a much narrower space than that, especially if you're limited by geography. So that means you have to drive to your customer, or you have to deliver a customer, or you need to meet a customer face to face. So when that is the case, the first thing you want to do to narrow your audience is by location. And let me explain to you guys why you want to narrow your audience. If we just start running an ad on LinkedIn with no targeting whatsoever, we're going to try to market to over 19 million people, right? Now, we don't have a budget to market to 19 million people, because it's telling us that in order to market to 19 million people, we need to have a budget of between $1,700 to $3,000. And out of that, we're going to reach only between 100,000 to 430,000 people, right? So that's a very broad audience. We want to narrow that down significantly, and that will reduce our spend, but also make sure that the people that we're reaching are going to be more significant. So what we want to do is we want to start narrowing first by location. So let's say that we know that our span is geographically limited by a specific area. So I'm going to just use my neighborhood. I'm in LaSalle, Quebec. So I'm going to write down LaSalle. Okay, perfect. LaSalle, not LaSalle, Ontario. But we're going to go with LaSalle, Quebec. It's not there. Okay, so LaSalle's not there on LinkedIn. So we got to go a little bit more broad. We go with Montreal. Okay, Montreal shows up. So that's how you start off, by just seeing how narrow they allow you to narrow your scope. So if I click on Montreal and I take off Canada, right away my audience goes down to 1.2 million people, right? So I'm still spending between $1,700 to $3,000 a month, but my audience is going to be a lot more specific because I'm going to be targeting people within the Montreal area. All right, I can use these to either get broader or more narrow, right? If I want to go bigger, I can do Greater Montreal Metropolitan, or I can do Montreal West or Montreal East. if I want to narrow it down, but I can't go specifically as in the city. Some platforms will allow you to target even as narrow, depending on the audience size, by postal code. All right. So if you want to target by postal code, maybe LinkedIn is not the right place for you to run an ad because you can't go that narrow. All right. So once you've done that, you've already narrowed it down to Montreal, or you might want to narrow down to a more narrow area. The next thing you want to do is you want to narrow the audience. You could also do things like exclude people in a particular area. So let's say I want to exclude people in the East End. I can also just click on exclude and then exclude these people from that particular area. But I'm not going to use the exclude for this particular example. Everybody still following me? If you're lost, say lost, and I will go back, and I'll just go back and revisit that again. Or if you're all good, give me a number 1, and I'm going to keep moving. All right, we're still moving. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to narrow the audience further. Okay, so who is my target audience? I want to narrow it down a little bit further. I want to target it by audiences. So I can say, if I've already been running ads, I can upload a list of people that I already have. So let's say you already have a mailing list. You can upload that mailing list into LinkedIn and say, I want you to target only these people on my mailing list. All right. Or I can say, hey, I have a mailing list of 2,000 people. Can you find me a lookalike audience? Anybody know what a lookalike audience is? What do you think a lookalike audience is?
Similar interests?
Yes. So these are people that the algorithm knows, and this is where technology gets better. So for example, a lookalike audience would use information like all of these factors here, and it'll find people that have as many of these things in common as possible. And this is where technology gets better than us, because just think of how much time it would take to take your entire list and sort them based on all of these factors and find out what they have in common, right? That's where platforms like Google, Facebook, and LinkedIn become extremely powerful, because their algorithm will do that. It'll do that in a fraction of a second for us, okay? We have a retargeting audience, so we can choose people who've already visited our brand, right? Our website. I always talk about everybody needs to have a retargeting campaign running pretty much all the time. That's going to bring people who've been to your site, remind them of who you are. We can use third-party data, which is we can get data from another platform that we're already using, or we can use other. And I forget what others are, but there are other ways you can play around with marketing with targeting. So this is for audience that you already own. And like I said, goal number 1 is to get them to a platform that you own, because then you can use that data on multiple platforms. Are you guys starting to see why it's so important to take them off of Facebook, off of Instagram, onto your list? Because it's going to allow you to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use LinkedIn's platform to help me narrow my audience. And I'm going to say, how do I want to target them? Do I want to target them by the companies that they work at? So do I want to just target people that work at Apple that live in Montreal? Or do I want to target them by demographics based on their age or their gender? Do I want to target everybody on LinkedIn who's male between 35 and 45, right? Or do I want to target them based on their education level? Okay, everybody who's university educated. Do I want to target them based on their experience, how long they've been at a job? Or do I want to target them based on interests and traits? All right, since we've been using interests and traits in the other ones, I'm going to use interests and traits here one more time. Okay, just to show you guys what information that you can target based on here. And the goal is going to be simply to test these, right? Because I didn't even realize, I didn't remember that I can't go as specific as a city on here. But when you put it in, you see, hey, I can't target a city. So what I do, I just go one level higher. All right. So what we can do is if I go on here, it gives me it narrows it down to, I can target member in groups, people that share certain interests based on the groups they follow. I could go based on interests, which is members based on interests that align with your business, or member traits, members based on like if they are frequent travelers, desktop users, or open to education. All right, so let's just use this last one right here as an example. If my target audience are people who are career changers, expats for whatever reason, people who are contributors on LinkedIn regularly, right? Might be a great way to do so. People who are frequent travelers, right? If we know that LinkedIn knows that if people are traveling based on a number of factors that they do, where they check in. Also, every app has a mobile app version. Every one of these platforms has a mobile version of it. And one of the terms and conditions you agree to is that they can see your location. So that app can see where you're locating to, right? You can do things like open to learning, to education, open to relocation, open recently promoted, and so forth. Is this cool? Is this, let me know, this is kind of making your mind start to churn. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to see things here that are making my creative juices start to flow. All right. So this is basically just using the platforms for some of the different targeting platforms. We also have interests, and I sent you guys the link so you can go through this and see, right, what are some of the things that they allow you to target based on particular product interests, right? If you're going to target on LinkedIn, you can look here and see, hey, do any of these things refer to my customer, my ideal customer? Will my ideal customer would fall into any of these categories here? All right. And then once you have that, you simply just go through, you target it down based on that. And your goal is to get this audience small enough that it's sizable, that you can do marketing, but also big enough that you can pull in a big enough pool of fish, as they say. All right. And then that is basically the advertising that you can do using on LinkedIn. So this is how LinkedIn uses a little bit more about your professional online presence. Facebook uses more of your interests, right? So think of the platform. Why do people go to Facebook? They go to Facebook to kind of kill time, look at family, stay in touch, in the know with their friends and family, connect with people and so forth, right? Why do they use Google? They use Google to search, right? Search for a problem. So if you sell a product, right? For example, you're a real estate agent. What are some of the things that we see on here that would that would identify your ideal customer based on what they're searching for, right? Maybe looking for luxury homes, maybe in the process of changing, maybe they're parents, right? They're recently married, so probably they're gonna need to move into the next step pretty soon, and we can get content out there for people that need a bigger place, more space, right? And start thinking about that demographic, that customer. What do you know? What can you make a hypothesis, right? An educated guess about them at the beginning to get started. And then once you start to collect that data, you can start to make further data-driven decisions saying that, okay, I noticed that people who when I target people who are interested in business administration, that audience performs better than people who are just in business ethics. So now our data-driven decision is to invest more money into business administration and maybe less into ethics, or try a different ad or a different combination if we want to get after this audience in the future. All right, 8 minutes left. I just want to open it up to you guys to ask any questions. Open it up. Let me know your takeaways from this, and let me ask any questions for you guys. Or if you brought any questions to the session today around social media that you want me to cover, here's your chance. Peter says, can this target a company page created by us? So we're making the company not our personal ID. So we're making that company not a personal ID. Yes. So no, you can only run ads as a company, not a personal profile on LinkedIn. I really wish they could let you run as a personal profile, because most people have a much bigger audience in the personal reach than on a company. But you can build it up. All right. Let me ask. What are some of your takeaways from today? What is the coolest thing that you learned today on today's session? Vinny,
love your ad awareness. It was amazing. I just love the how Google's tracking all our information, and then they're retargeting us with that. And then we have the ability to turn things on and change it, because that is super helpful. There was a couple settings in there that I was like, oh, that's how I turn these off. Okay. And turn some of them on. So really appreciate that.
Yeah. What are you guys' opinions about the ability to now go ahead and target and being able to have control over your ads? What do you guys think? Is that you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Having the ability to change.
My time, but I'll go.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Vinny.
I kind of like, especially if I get to some degree say what kind of ads. I actually enjoy it because I feel like they're actually evolving and they're not just focusing on selling me something. They're actually getting to the point where it's like, hey, did you know about this? Like one of them that came across was called Masterclass.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoy watching their ads because it's like, wow, that would be actually something really cool to learn about.
Yeah. Awesome. Wes, any big takeaways for you that I think you may have known about some of these already? I think we talked about them on early sessions with you.
No, just a more reminder about how to like go and see like even like what Google's tracking me, and then using those kind of keywords and categories for future like advertising purposes. So it's pretty good, refreshing take on it.
Awesome. Good stuff. Yeah, any takeaways that you learned here that you share? I'm not sure if you have your phone. Okay, Kim was on her phone. Okay, so yes, go ahead, Yanni.
I think for me it was more of the way Google is tracking, and it tracks, but it's the way to find out how to update those settings in there. It's very interesting.
Yeah, very, very cool. Anshul, you're interested in parenting now, I see. You know, I'm not.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
What? Tell me.
There were many great
Yeah.
takeaways. I love the LinkedIn campaign manager and even the Facebook thing that I did not know about. So yeah, those were cool.
Yeah, definitely play around. Look at these, and when you're setting up a new campaign, for a client, just you just go through those settings again with them. You know, just maybe you just pull yours up or pull theirs up, and then if you're looking for ideas, you try to pull for straws on, hey, what are some of the interests that we should be able to pull out? Just just grab some of these from that list, and you'll have a nice little audience to be able to start to target. All right, Kimba, you want to share?
Hey, yeah, no, I was just saying that, the concept that my clients are just like me, and using what I've been tracking or what I've been doing
Yeah.
to target is interesting, because sometimes you think you're so unique. Nobody's doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But the fact is everybody's doing what you're doing. So it's good to just use your own data.
Yeah.
To your advantage.
Yeah, definitely. The data that they have on you is some is very broad, but it can help you start to narrow it down. And you see how once you start to narrow that audience, how it goes from 19 million down to 1.2 million, 700,000, 200,000. If you can get it down to 100,000 people like on LinkedIn, that would do a world of a difference for you. All right. Did you see any of the interest in there that you'd go, oh, I didn't think about that before when you were going through yours today? Anyone's create like a bit of an aha?
A few things. I definitely thought, oh, what about, we have a pretty large list now, and so, well, I mean, relatively, but if we were to use that list and do the mirror one in LinkedIn, so I thought that was
the lookalike one
too.
Lookalike audience.
Yeah. Lookalike audience in LinkedIn, that was interesting too.
Amazing. Amazing. Awesome. Yeah. So that's cool. I think definitely. Let's do a session where we go through that again, one-on-one with you, and then pull out some interest out there that we can definitely see how we can leverage that into a campaign. All right. And it's going to be testing. You take the data, you test it on a small budget. If it works, you scale. If it doesn't, you pause, you fail forward fast. Right. And you put that in the book as it worked or it didn't work. Make sure we track it. All right. Anything else? Anybody on the webinar want to just chat, comment in, a takeaway you had? I put in there the voice form. I'd love to get your feedback. I keep saying I have to ask every time. I'd love to get your feedback. I put the link to the voice form on there. It's pretty cool. You don't have to write anything. You can just read the questions and leave me a voice note. I'd love to know what how you guys like the session so far. and what I need to continue doing, or what I need to maybe change to make this a little bit more tailored to what you're looking for. All right, because I'm always looking for ways to get better and better for you guys. This is my perception of what I think you guys would want. But if there's something else that I could add into it, I can change it. Let me know. The new year is starting off. The new year is going to be all about deep dive, hands-on doing these things. This first session was teaching you guys the high-level concepts. Starting January, I'm going to go into a linking campaign with you guys. If you guys have a campaign in advance when we're talking, you're going to let me know. We're going to set up a campaign with you over an hour. Everybody's going to learn how to do a campaign. You want to know how to set up a website? We're going to log into Elementor. I'll give you guys some videos you watch in advance. We're going to show you guys how to build a landing page, right? So show you guys actually how to do all those things that we talked about when we talked about a concept right now. All right. With that said, I know I started 2 minutes late. I want to get you guys some tunes, but it's 10 o'clock. I want to be mindful of everybody's time. Thank you so much to every one of you guys for showing up and being present with me today. And I want to wish you guys all an amazing weekend, amazing week. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. All right. So with that said, bye-bye, everybody. Bye. Bye, Anne. See you later, John.
Thank you, sir.
Take
Always a
care.
pleasure.
Share your feedback in the voice form if you don't mind. That'll be appreciated. Bye, Chinny. Bye, Piyush. Have a great weekend. All right, let me end.